we listened to them and they listened to their patients. And so we were able to develop a line of formulas based upon feedback from the community through our representatives, as well as through conferences. We had Zymogen experiences, and I did workshops, well over a couple hundred workshops myself all over the country.
On today's episode of the Modern Vital Podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about the importance of quality supplements when it comes to detoxification. And today's very special guest is the CEO and founder of Zymogen and WholeScripts, Brian Blackburn. And Zymogen's a world leader in high-quality supplements, prioritizing quality assurance, rigorous testing, and environmental control to ensure their products meet industry standards. Brian, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Dr. Ben. It's my pleasure to be here.
It's so great to have you. So I'd love to hear a little bit about your journey in founding your supplement company.
I graduated with a degree in biochemistry from a Jesuit school, John Carroll University in Ohio. I went to Loyola University in Chicago, where I'm originally from, to the placement center, looking for a position in science in particular, not necessarily nutrition. I was more interested in the pharmaceutical end. But I ended up at a job at a company called Nutridyne, which was based in Chicago, which is the forerunner of metagenics. I still was not really committed to natural or integrated medicine at the time, but I had the opportunity to attend a Jeff Bland seminar. Like I say, this is back in a long time ago, back in 1978 when he first started speaking. And as a recent biochemistry graduate, I was able to follow along entirely with his presentation, which was pretty technical. And it was amazing. It was like a 180 for me. I went from pharma to integrated medicine. This is in 78. He had New England Journal of Medicine, JAMA, these type of journals I could relate to, validating things to this day. I'm talking omega-3s, which, by the way, the omega-3s weren't the concentrated versions. They were Norwegian cod liver all the time. They didn't even have the high dose potency omega-3s you see today. But nonetheless, the science and the literature is there on minerals, on zinc, on vitamin C. It goes on and on and on. But I'm talking peer-reviewed journals, which I thought it was kind of quackery. But in one meeting, I was so convinced of the efficacy of this integrated medicine, which at the time was called alternative medicine. We all know it's not an alternative. And so integrated medicine, that I went back to the owner of the company and said, I need to get out in the field. I need to share my enthusiasm. And so I was able to secure a position in the Washington, D.C. area. And with my passion for this field, I was able to grow at the time. I can only use dollar amounts right now, from about $100,000 to about $6 million in, I guess, is about 5 years, just through passion. And I owe a lot of that, like I say, to Dr. Jeffrey Bland.
Oh, that's incredible. Well, I mean, I know that you're held to the highest standards. I mean, you make pharmaceuticals at your company, and whatever it says it is in there is pretty much in there. You know, moving over to detoxification, which I know you had mentioned to me, we were chatting a little bit before, you'd said, hey, this is one of the specialties that we launched Zymogen with a focus on, was kind of detox, which I know, of course, pure quackery, right? But yeah, I'd love to hear from you a little bit about the importance of the quality of supplements, for detox.
With the founding of Zymogen, was principally done for two principal reasons. One was exclusivity. Through my whole career, I developed such strong relationships with our practitioner customers, and the practitioner channels of supplements, which included Metagenics, Standard Process, and other practitioner channel companies. We were committed to practitioner. It's exclusivity. In the late 90s, that was dissolving. I felt such a commitment to the practitioners who made me successful that I decided to create a line that was 100% exclusive. So that was number one. Number two was part of the challenge I had at the time as a distributor was they weren't listening. And I had many of my customers up and down the East Coast who were making recommendations. And these are some of those respected practitioners in this integrative community. And I would go back to the company and they really didn't listen. And so we decided as a founding, one, to create an exclusive line dedicated to practitioners, and number two, to create a board of advisors who would listen to what we heard from our practitioners. So our initial medical director was Dr. Bob Browntree, and we had a board of advisors of 12 with 2-year terms. And so we listened to them and they listened to their patients. And so we were able to develop a line of formulas based upon feedback from the community through our representatives, as well as through conferences. We had Zymogen experiences, and I did workshops, well over a couple hundred workshops myself, all over the country, everywhere, Northwest, everywhere, California, New York, Florida, everywhere. And so I would listen. We had surveys with our medical director, our board of advisors, our professional representatives, which, by the way, our representatives, even back then, had a tenure of 12 years. I mean, think about it, 12 years calling on practitioners like yourself. So relationships, we had all about relationships. Like I say, the launching of Zymogen was based upon relationships, listening to my customers, and not necessarily getting what we wanted. That's what we launched Zymogen with in 2003, and with Dr. Like I say, conferences in 2004 with Dr. Roundtree. And that's what we are to this day. We're still based upon relationships, listening to our customers, and based upon quality. One big difference, which you mentioned, Dr. Ben, is from a quality. Early on, we chose very, very high quality manufacturers, but even then, we saw an opportunity to take it to a whole new level. So, as you mentioned, I don't like to exaggerate, but this is based upon over 300 tours of our facility. I'm talking from professionals in this industry, the most advanced quality manufacturing facility in the industry. Ask anybody, you yourself are welcome. Any of your listeners are welcome to tour a facility anytime. It's not like we set it up for tours. You can tour any day, any day we're open of the year. And you can also go online. If any of your listeners or viewers, you just go type in zymogen.com and you'll see a video of our manufacturing facility. We have NSF is the number one licensor and auditor in our industry. We got an A+ from them. It's very, very, very rare. And from the FDA, where they spent 2 weeks here, they typically come up with about 40 to 50 observations, a few warning letters. We didn't get a single observation. After 2 weeks, there wasn't one thing that they could recommend that we could do better. That comes down to testing, humidity control, air quality control, the latest equipment in terms of maintaining the quality and purity. And like I say, you don't have to listen to me, or you're all welcome to come and visit. And by the way, we're not too far from Disney World, so you can make it a really fun trip.
Well, thank you so much for that. That's really inspiring. I think I'm asking you about, detox and quality, and then you bring it back to listening, which I feel like you're really telling me it works. In order for them to work, we have to be listening not only to the practitioners, but to the patients. And of course, that's what I see in my practice. If I stop listening, it doesn't matter how sophisticated my supplement is or my therapy or how much I know, it's not going to work. And what you're sharing with me is so profound. And I know it sounds simple, but it's not, right?
Well, it's simple for me because that's I guess that's my DNA. From day one in this field, I literally, I mentioned 1970. I still have customers going back that long, and it's just a passion I'm about. Like say in relationships, it's about caring. It's about listening. The root of our success is really relationships with our practitioners, with our team here, our headquarters team. Like you say, our sales reps, our representatives out there. Right now, we have about 100. Right now, it's about 14-year average tenure. Think about it. I've been moving out. Some of these came from other companies, so they haven't necessarily been with Zymogen for 14 years. Many of them have, but they've been in the field that long. And so when you've been calling on, as for you, Dr. Benner, and your listeners, you have representatives, you have a relationship. Well, we've almost never lost I mean, almost every one of our representatives either started with us or came from a competitor. We almost never lose a representative because they're so committed to being part of our team. When you have great relationships and you listen to those people and you have a medical board of advisors, good things happen. And based upon the success in all those arenas, we are very blessed to be able to build right now what is a 300,000 square foot campus, by far the most advanced in the industry. And that's critically important at assuring the quality of the ingredients, the testing. We have a full on-site laboratory. We actually designed and built this facility to make probiotics and SAMe because they are most subject to humidity and temperature and air quality controls. So we have by far the most advanced air quality, humidity, temperature control clean rooms in the industry. Our two dehumidifiers are, it's hard for me to explain. I'm looking around my office here, not that you can see it, but they're the size of a garage, a big garage. Nobody else has anything close. I just promise you, that we spent so much, we continue to invest to this day in the highest quality clean room technology to produce the highest quality supplements. And above and beyond that, like I share with many practitioners, just look at the label. Seriously, even beyond what's in it, the label, we take no shortcuts. That means with our highest quality botanicals, be it from domestic or international sources, we put all of those in every product, not just some. That means like our multivitamin has the highest quality Albion minerals, for example, Gnosis, quadrifolates. There's cheaper versions, which most companies, in fact, most all the companies I'm aware, put them in certain supplements, not all of them. We put all of them in every ingredient. Another thing is I found through my years is sometimes manufacturers will allow for what they call out of spec, which means if you have a certain botanical which requires a certain specification, they will allow a pass on it. We don't. I just from all my years in the industry, I'd say the majority of manufacturers, not all, but quite a few will allow for out of spec ingredients. So the practitioners listening and what other consumers might be listening can be rest assured that they're getting not only the highest quality ingredients, but manufactured in the absolute highest quality clean room technology in the marketplace.
Well, it's also incredible how many well-known brands you manufacture as well. Oh my goodness. Nordic Naturals and Ayush, and the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to your point too, I feel like your supplements are made for me and for my patients as well. Like that listening really is working. Well, Brian, thank you so much for taking time today. Where can people find you online?
So I'm at Brian, very simple, Brian, Brian at XYMOGEN.com. I'd love to hear from any. I always respond. Thank you, Dr. Ben, so much for this time.
Thank you so much. That concludes today's episode of the Modern Vital Podcast. We'd love to hear from you. We value your feedback. And if you have any questions or suggestions, please reach out to me at ben@modernvital.com. Also, please leave us a review if you enjoyed this episode. And we look forward to having you join us next week for another exciting episode of the Modern Vital Podcast. And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Modern Vital Podcast. Your support fuels our mission to empower you on your quest for optimal health. Remember, our Modern Vital store offers supplements to guide you on your path to wellness. And don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share our podcast. Until next time, stay proactive on your health and wellness journey.